Evening one and all, welcome to the Friday Waffle on a Saturday evening. Apologies about the lateness in getting this out. I always do try and do it on a Friday if I can, but it's not always possible. Real life gets in the way sometimes. So yeah, I hope you're all doing okay. You can probably tell. I look tired because I am tired. I've caught the sun. It's been really nice up here. In fact, all this week it's been really nice. So I was out walking the dogs earlier on, got a bit of sun. Nicest to get out. So I hope you're all staying safe. Things up here are okay. I'm actually quite enjoying my new old job. It's such a relief. I can't emphasise how fortunate I am. I've been to basically go back to my old job again. So yeah, that's been that. But gaming wise, have I been doing anything at all? Excuse me, I've been playing quite a bit of the Raspberry Pi arcade stick. I did do a live stream. Now, I've got to say I was quite impressed at how it turned out. I basically I'm using an iPad just now to record this, and what I just did was I just pointed the iPad at the TV. And I thought it worked out pretty well. Yeah, the sound was a wee bit tinny, but what do you expect? So, yeah, I've been doing that. Anything else gaming wise? I was playing my Next for a wee bit on Tuesday, I think it was. Apart from that, not a great deal. Not had the PlayStation 4 or anything on for quite a long time. Yeah, trying to kind of get out, do a bit of exercise, been out my bike. I did manage a couple of runs last week, not particularly far. Been out my bike a few times, so yeah, just trying to kind of keep things going. I still really want to kind of get back to proper running. I've been talking about doing it for quite a few years because I have never ever been as unfit in all my life as I am at the moment, and I think the problem you've got as well, like a lot of people, is because you're spending so much time indoors. It is the easiest thing in the world just to eat. And I've been doing a bit of that, I really have. I've not been too bad, but not gorging myself, but the problem is when you're inside, you go through the kitchen, you're eating all the time, so really can't wait for things to get back to normal, so that we can just kind of get back to normal life, start going to the gym, start seeing friends, going to the computer club, stuff like that. So I've not got very much to talk about, but just talking about the computer club, I thought what I would do is talk about the original computer club that I used to go to back in the 80s. Now, if you're a long sort of subscriber, the chances are you've probably heard this story 1,000 times. See, I'm now at that stage in life. I'm like that old granddad that you have who repeats himself. I'll tell a story and then I'll repeat it. But the thing is, I'm aware that I'm repeating it. But I think I've been doing this Friday Waffle for so long. I started the Waffle, I think, 2014. So I've been doing a Friday Waffle for 5 years. I've been doing it for 5 years now. And that's generally, it's 52. I do one a week, so what's 5 times 50 is 250 waffles. That's a hell of a lot of waffles. So there's potentially 250, 300 hours of me talking stuff. So it's inevitable that you're going to have to start repeating yourself, and that's what I tend to do. So yeah, computer club. When would it be? It would be, I don't know, 1984, I think it would be, and I was working part time in Wilco. You hear me talk about Wilco a lot. That was the place where I first started working. I was still at school, but it was a wee part time job. Started working at Wilco, and I had not long bought my C64. And I kind of got friendly with a few people. There was a guy, Brian, who I got friendly with. He was the guy that kind of introduced me to piracy. I didn't even know that piracy was a thing. And then he had a mate called Shug, who I got kind of friendly with him. And then he told me about there was a computer club. Now this computer club was held on a Wednesday night, I think it was was it 6 till 9, something like that? That rings a bell. And basically, it was every Wednesday, and you took along your own equipment, and the idea being was to share games, play games, just like-minded people. Now the funny thing was you had to take along your own TV, so yeah, you went along to the computer club. You had to carry a TV, you had to carry your computer, and I mean I used to go with my mate Grant, and he would have his Spectrum, and I would have my C64, and if we were lucky, my dad would. It's a big blue bottle. If we're lucky, my dad would give me a loan of the car, but that was few and far between. A lot of the time, you would have to physically carry a portable television and your computer. I basically had it in a big case. So it was like going your holidays, you had to walk. I mean, I'm trying to think, from my mum and dad's house to the school, it was probably about, I reckon, probably easily maybe 3 miles. So we used to walk every Wednesday carrying a TV each and a big luggage case with the computer stuff in it. And it was held in, it was a school, a high school in Livingston, which is still there. Now the funny thing is, I give blood, as and when I can, and it's in the gym hall, it's in the gym hall, but it's in the school that I used to go to this computer club, and it's quite weird. Anytime I go in there, I've always got these real kind of vivid memories of being up there as a teenager. But anyway, yeah, getting back on track, you would turn up there, you'd walk to this place, and they held it inside. It was like the science lab, because I always remember you could see the wee kind of the little taps that you could put a Bunsen burner on. It was in with the big kind of high, by kind of big wooden sort of workbenches. So you would take your stuff in and you would set it up and you would load up some games. Now, the people that went, I mean, ages wise, I don't know, I would be probably 18, 19 years old. I think there was one guy who I remember who was a wee bit older than me, but we were generally the oldest there. And then there was people, there was kids, maybe, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. And generally, it's split into whatever type of computer you had. We had the Commodore 64s. My mate Grant, he had a Spectrum. So we wouldn't really hang about with each other when we got there. You would go up to the computer club, then you would go away and you'd kind of branch off into your respective computer owners group. So he would go with the Spectrum owners. I was in with the C64 guys. There was one guy who owned, and I've mentioned him before. This one guy, he had an Atari 800. I think it was an Atari. It wasn't the original Atari, the one I've got. It was an Atari 800 XL, and he was the only Atari guy that was there. And I can always remember him, and the guy was, I don't know if he was burned as a child or something, but he was basically scarred, and he looked quite unfortunate. And a lot of people, I think people used to bully him. I mean, I didn't know him other than through the computer club. I was always, I'd say hello to him. But this guy, he was quite an unfortunate looking person. And I says it didn't help the fact that he was the only Atari owner. So he would I don't even know why he went to the computer club, because although we all took our own computers along, we didn't really let anybody play with our computers other than your own mates, which was kind of weird. It's not like the computer club that I go to now, where we take our stuff along and everybody basically plays with everything. But this guy, so he had his Atari, and he would go along, and the game that he used to play all the time was Stealth, which I always remember thinking it looked really impressive. It's by Broderburn software. You fly into the screen, and you've got this, you pilot this kind of spaceship, and you're flying towards a little tower that's quite far back. And what I liked about it is the tower gradually got bigger, so you were kind of getting closer to it. But he always had this game on, and I always thought that it looked really, really smart. Occasionally he would load up Ball Blazer, which I am not a fan of at all. I just don't get the game at all. So he kind of stuck to himself. He would sit there and play his own computer. The Spectrum guys, they were generally the younger kids, and all they would do is just copy each other's games. You know, that's all they did. Just you saw these double tape decks, copying games. And my mate Grant, I mean, Grant he was a year older than me, so, well, he still is a year older than me. He was easily older than most of the other kids. And I think because he was older, they weren't like scared of him. He wasn't nasty to them, but he just commanded respect from them. And so these kids would take along their C90 tapes and they would just let him copy them. There was no arguments, and a lot of the time he didn't have anything to give back, so it wasn't even like they were trading anything, but they were happy for him to take away these C90 tapes. And then there was myself, there was Shug, there was a guy called John. Now, is it John Wallace? Now, if I remember rightly, he always seemed to have all the latest games before. I'm talking about the games that came from America before they were even released in the UK. John always had copies of them. Now, we all felt quite kind of posh. We all had disc drives, you know, and that made copying a lot easier. So John would bring along his C64, and he just had all these discs with all these brand new games that we'd never seen. I remember I'm loading up, was it Championship Wrestling, which is by Epix. And although it's not a particularly good game, I'd never seen it before. There was that, then there was the one Fight Night. There was all these big American games that I said I'd never ever heard of before, and he had them all in disc. And 99% of the time, he was quite happy to let me copy them. And that's exactly what it was. It was just a copying club. You know, you would load up a game, but then you would spend the rest of the night just copying stuff. Excuse me. Now the thing about John, I remember I got quite friendly with him, and I used to go up to his house sometimes. And again, back then there was a mutual agreement that you had to, if you were going to copy stuff from somewhere, then you would have to give back. So it was like, well, I've got this, what have you got in return? And so I used to go up to John's house, and he would give me all these games that, you know, nobody had ever seen before. And that extended into when I eventually got the Amiga, because I remember going to John's house and I had just got the Amiga, and he loaded up what was it called, Fairy Tale Adventure, which for its time was just incredible looking. It was really smart looking. You play the part of, it's kind of like a sort of Zelda game, but with more kind of realistic graphics. It was an early Amiga game, but I remember just thinking that the music and the graphics, they were a different level. You know, I couldn't believe how good they were, and the music as well. It was awesome. And I remember John giving me a copy of that. But John he became, I think it was called the Red Baron in the sort of cracking circles. And I remember getting games from John, and he used to put his little Red Baron. I'm sure I had a copy of Arkanoid, which was one of his cracks. But yeah, Red Baron. But going back to the computer club was basically, it was just an excuse for people to copy games. And the funny thing was, there was like a caretaker, I don't know if he was a janitor or whatever, but he used to obviously open up the school, and he would kind of, when I say supervise, he would kind of put his head in. I think he kind of trusted us because my mate Hugh, or Shug as he was called, Shug knew him, so he kind of thought, oh, that's fine, Shug's there, he'll be fine, he'll make sure everything's okay. I don't know whether this guy had any idea what we were actually doing. If he did, he certainly didn't show any concern. He never ever said to us, what are you doing? You know, as long as we didn't damage the place, whatever, you know, we kind of got away with it. Always remember, halfway through the night, we'd go upstairs up to the canteen and get a cup of tea, probably like a juice or something like that, and somebody's chips, get a wee plate of chips, you'd have something like that as well. But yeah, and then when it got to 9 o'clock, you then had the 3 mile walk back down the road, but the difference was you had all these discs, or in Grant's case, you had all these C90 tapes. And what we'd do is we would go to Grant's house and we would spend a couple hours going through the C90s, seeing what games would load and what ones wouldn't. And 9 times out of 10, well, maybe not 9 times out of 10, maybe 50% of the time, half the games would work, half the games wouldn't work, but because it was a C90 tape, Grant never really knew what you had, that was always the exciting part of C90 tapes. You could never quite remember actually what you had on the tape, unless once you figured out, what game would work, what volume you had to have it at, you would get the wee inlay, you'd write on it, the name of the game. And then after that, I would go down to my house and load up my discs. I never got as many games as Grant, but the thing for me is because I had them on disc, they would generally work, whereas when it was tape to tape, you never really knew if it was going to work or not. But yeah, that was Computer Club. I mean, I don't know how many years I went it for, maybe about, 2 possibly. The funny thing is, when you're that age, what maybe seems like a long time, when you were like 15, 16, 17, a year seemed like a long time, but in actual time terms, it was probably a very, very short space of time. But when you're only 15, a year does seem longer. Likewise, when you're 52 years old, like you are now, or like I am now, a year just goes in the blink of an eye. It's mental. But yeah, that was a Computer Club. Did any of you guys go to computer clubs back in the day? I mean, I think they were quite a common thing back then. But the thing that surprises me now is, I mean, I go to this computer club through in Edinburgh. I've mentioned it quite a few times. It was George, one of my mates, George. He put an advert in, I think it was the Evening News. He actually got interviewed. He appeared in an article in the Evening News about 6 years ago, talking about how he had this interest in computer games, and he was wanting to start a club, and he was basically asking, does anybody want to come along to this club? So myself and there was about another 4 or 5 of us went along, and here we are 6 years later, we're still going strong. We have tried to expand the club, get more members, but here's the thing, we have to take along our own equipment, so there's not really that much of an incentive to have lots of people going along, because the thing is, we all know each other. I think we're all pretty friendly with each other, and we all respect one another's equipment, so we can all be trusted to be careful. We do get newcomers coming along for a wee while. Some days they'll come along and will stay, or else a lot of the time they'll come along for a few times and then they'll not come back again. But you're always a wee bit wary when somebody new comes along, because at the end of the day, the stuff that we take along, it's expensive, especially some of the older machines. You can't, if it breaks, if somebody's kind of hashy with it, then it's going to be expensive to kind of replace. But I do enjoy the computer club. We've not had one obviously for about 2 months, I think. Obviously with the lockdown going on, I think the one previous to that was actually cancelled because there weren't that many people going to go along. But yeah, a lot of people have commented on my videos. I mean, I did put out a few videos with the computer club. People have kind of commented saying, "Oh, you're lucky you've got a computer club." And so I always say, well, why? I don't know why people don't try. If you're on social media, put a little post up on Facebook, just saying that, is anybody in this area interested in starting a computer club? You'll be amazed. You'll be absolutely amazed. But I enjoy it. The thing I like about it is it's my one day a month where I can go along for it's 7:30 till 10:30. We can go along for 3 hours and completely just become a kid again. I'm able just to play computer games and talk to people about computer games, and it's wonderful. For these 3 hours, I don't think about anything else. It's great. I'm just like a big kid again. You're getting to play 2-player games against your mates, and that's something that I think that I miss. I've got lots of systems here, but I do miss not having somebody to kind of play against. But the fact is, obviously YouTube helps to make up for that. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about computer clubs, and I can talk about ancient Spectrum games and the Vectrex to you guys, because we're all like-minded people. We've all got the same interests. But yeah, if you're interested in starting a computer club up, just put a thing on Facebook. Say where you're from, what area you're from, and just say, would anybody be interested? And you'll be surprised, because that's what George did. I says, and about 6 years ago, we got about, 6 or 7 people turning up, and 6 years later, we're still going strong. It's the same people. So give it a go. So anyway, listen, that's me prattled on long enough. I'm just going to wire straight in. I'm just noticing how I'm actually tired, but I think I suffer from hay fever, and my eyes, particularly this one, it's been quite tired. I don't know, has anybody else noticed that hay fever is quite prevalent at the moment? I know it's always this time of year when it kind of starts getting worse. Excuse me. So yeah, my eyes are quite tired, and I think that top eyelid has actually been a wee bit swollen as well. But anyway, that, or I'm just getting old, probably the latter. So anyway, listen, I meant to say apologies about last week's Friday Waffle. I have absolutely no idea why the audio and the video went out of sync. No idea at all. What I did was I recorded it using whatever it's called, that sort of live stream software that I use. I recorded it using that. Then I downloaded the video and I put the intro and the outro. Now something along the lines, or somewhere along the lines, the audio's got out of sync. But you're only listening. You don't have to watch this. Obviously, you don't have to see me. The Friday Waffle is all about audio. There's never really anything to actually look at. But apologies about that anyway. But hopefully you got the gist of it. So anyway, straight into comments. Stephen Thornburg, great waffle even with dodgy sound. 2 questions for your next one. Which 1980s arcade game devoured the most of your 10-pence coins, and why? Mine would be Missile Command, as I never did master it, but I was addicted to it. And alright, number 2. Now, as I've mentioned before, Stephen, where I lived, I didn't have any arcade games close by. The only time I would get to play an arcade game would be if we went on holiday, and even then it would be like the service station on the M6 when we used to go on our annual camping holiday down to Essex. Or occasionally, if I went to the sports centre, they would have a machine. But there was I didn't have any arcades nearby, certainly not in the early days. So there was no arcades or any arcade machines that I could play on a regular basis. But I don't know, I think the game that I played the most in the early days, if I went in an arcade, and the odd occasion I did get to go to, like, my sister took me down to Blackpool once, the game that I would usually play was probably going to be Galaxian. There was just something about the game. There was something about it that dragged me in. The beautiful, glowy, phosphorus visuals, the beautiful colour, the twinkling stars, the sound. You probably Galaxian, but like I said, I never had any arcades nearby, so I couldn't say, oh, that was my particular favourite. But if I was going to play a game in the early days, it was going to be Galaxian. When I did start college in 86, 87, they had an arcade, and the games that I would probably play would be Rolling Thunder. I did enjoy, I used to quite enjoy that Tekken football game, the one you got the sort of trackball, Tekken World Cup I think it's called, and Tiger Heli. Always loved Tiger Heli. It's just I can't get anywhere in it at all now. It's a really, really difficult game. But yeah, these are probably the ones, but probably Galaxian, I think, Stephen. Number 2, have you ever played any of the old 60s, 70s mechanical arcade games like Sega's Missile, Bally Road's Runner, or Midway's Stunt Pilot? I haven't, no. I can't even say I've even heard of these, Stephen. So they came out in the 60s and 70s. The only kind of mechanical game I remember, there was a driving game of some sort. Was it a truck or something? I can't remember. But obviously there was the skeet shooting. You had a rifle, and there was these like lights flew across I don't know if that was mechanical, it probably was, but again, as I was saying, I didn't have any arcades nearby, so it wasn't really something that I really had much exposure of, but I can't say I've even heard of that. Bally's Roadrunner and Midway Stunt Pilot. No, I'll need to do a wee search on YouTube for that. But anyway, listen, Stephen, thanks for your questions, mate. Ye older gamer Steve, great question by Milfy. My answers would be the C64. I can't even remember what this was again. What the question was. I can't actually remember. Ultima 5, Red Storm Rising, Pirates, and Amiga Knights of the Sky, Formula 1 Grand Prix, and Flight of Intruder. I can't remember what Milfy's question was exactly. Panther UK, cracking foreign language dub waffle. Good answers to my questions too. So for the very next waffle then, first person shooters have been done to death at this point. Is there a genre of game that has been overlooked for a long time that you feel deserves being brought back into the mainstream? It's probably two. I mean, I love shooters, shoot 'em ups. There's not enough modern shoot 'em ups other than, first person. I'm talking about classic arcade game, when you joystick and one fire button. There's not enough shoot 'em ups. I know you do get, in Japan they still have them, I think, but yeah, shoot 'em ups, and I would love to see some more joystick bashing games. I mean, one of my favourite arcade games is Track and Field. That's probably one that I did play quite a bit back in the day. They did have a track and field game at the sports centre. But yeah, I'd love to see a sort of modern remake of Track and Field, but it would need to use the original. Don't complicate it. Keep it, waggling the joystick or hammering the fire buttons. But yeah, I think a modern track and field game and modern sort of shoot 'em ups. There's just not enough for my liking. I think that would probably be my two, Chris. So thanks for your question, buddy. Jordan, thanks for replying. I have no problem at all understanding you, Alan. I went backpacking through Scotland some 10 years ago and got used to Scottish. Me, myself, I live in the south of Sweden and have a strong accent myself, so I know what it is like. I agree 100% on Way of the Exploding Fist. It was just a lot of walking around. The first one is an absolute classic. Yeah, I was asked about what sequel was disappointing, and I think, or what game were you really excited about playing, and then when it came out you were quite disappointed, and mine was definitely Way of the Exploding Fist too. Nice to hear from you, Jordan. Or is it Jorgen? I beg your pardon, my accent, my pronunciation is a bit pants. The older gamer Steve, that's his second one. A great waffle, mate. I agree with you 100% on Zelda. I enjoy Zelda games, but Breath of the Wild, nope. It's a blend, boring, and weapon breaking all the time is annoying. Greatest game of all time. Quite frankly, it wouldn't get my top 500. You and me both, Steve. Batman, superb waffleage, sir. So glad you have landed on your feet with the new job. I've gone back to one company twice and another company 3 times, blimey. It's okay to do it with jobs, but I don't think I would try it with relationships. Nah, me neither. My question for this week is, as I have been playing a different system for a couple of days at Pop, I have come round to the Underdog Wii U. I was just wondering, as I know you're a bit of a Wii U fan, what games would you heartily recommend for it? Whilst on the Nintendo theme, could you recommend a couple on the Switch too? Wii U fan? I don't have many games. All the Nintendo games are good. The two stand out for me on the Wii U. One of them would be Pikmin 3. I've not played it that much, and I know I'm recommending a game which I've not really played that much, but the first 2 Pikmin games are 2 of the most underrated games in my opinion. So many people look at them and just think, oh, they're just they're kids games, but they're absolutely awesome. And the third Pikmin is no exception. And another game which is also out in the Switch, and it's Mario Kart 7, I think it is. Is it 7? I think 8 came out in the Switch, so it'd be the one before, so I think it would be 7. it's pound for pound, it is one of the most impressive looking video games you'll ever see. I mean, it's if you wanted the best ever graphics in a Mario Kart game, then this is it. It is beautiful. I mean, the thing I love about it is stupidly playable. The graphics are just to die for. I love the fact that you can rewind, you can go to any angle in the race, and you can watch things back in slow motion. It's just awesome. It's an absolute awesome game. Anything else in the Wii U? I'm not quite sure why you thought I was a huge Wii U fan. I am a Nintendo fan, but I don't have that many games. In fact, it's actually downstairs. But yeah, Pikmin, definitely. Pikmin 3 is an awesome game. And if you've got a Wii, then pick up Pikmin 1 and 2. They are fantastic. You've got to play them in the Wii. They did come out in the GameCube originally, but they control even better using the little not analog stick, the little movement stick thing. So thanks for your question, but Andy, Alan, I can't believe you've resorted to miming. The least we deserve is a live vocal performance. Yes. Colin Jones, sink or swim. Here's one to think about. What are your favourite offbeat games? By this I mean games that are, at the time, they don't fit any category. For example, Quicks, when it was released, any time, any format. I'm quite partial to Quicks. I think it's a really nice game. It's so basic, but it's worth playing. Tetris, who doesn't like Tetris? I've got it on the PlayStation 4, the VR version. It is really nice. I mean, it is just Tetris, but obviously you've got all these lovely kind of visuals kind of flying about. I'm a big fan of Jeff Minter. Not every game, I have to say, but there's Goat Up, which is one of two games that came included with the Minotaur project. Now, you can get them on the PC for about £5, but you can also get it on the PS4, so Goat Up is good fun. You basically control, I was going to say it's similar to Nebulous, it's not really. You've got these platforms that you can rotate around, you can move left and right, but the screen is gradually falling. Now if you fall off the bottom of the screen, it's game over, so you've got to keep constantly jumping up. It's a bit like, what's the name of that game? It was one of the biggest, it was one of the, one of the most popular games on the tablet. I can't remember what it's called again. But basically you've got to keep jumping up these platforms. It's really simple, but it's great fun to play. Another game I like is Rez. It's awesome on the Dreamcast, and it's also, I think I've also got it on the Xbox 360, and I've also got it in VR as well. But there's probably other games, Colin. I'm just trying to think offhand. I can't think of any other offhand, but yeah, Tetris, love all these kind of games. Even stuff like, Jeff Minter, you've got Polybius as well. Jeff Minter knows how to put out some kind of weird wee games, but yeah, fantastic. So thanks Colin. Excuse me. Ox says, see what happens when you put out a Friday Waffle on a Friday. You've upset the space-time lip sync continuum. John ASM, hi mate, glad you're in a better place in terms of work. Had a great laugh at the worst movie licensed tie-ins with yourself and the Cozer earlier this week. Also enjoyed the Atari ST video. Yeah, a few of my friends owned the machine for a time, like yourself, before trading in for an Amiga 500. The first game I remember was Batman the movie around 1989-90, by far and away the best version in terms of survival games. I used to play Left 4 Dead on the Xbox 360 before the system bit the dust. Yeah, Left 4 Dead is an absolute stonking game. Have I got it up there? Oh no, it's Dead Space. Dead Space actually good as well. But yeah, Left 4 Dead is awesome. Myself and my daughter still play it. Milfy Swinbuckle, hi, hello again, Main Meister. Question for the next waffle. I couldn't think what to ask this week, so I've gone with a question similar to the one I asked last week. Sorry. Blimey, this is a big one. Says that the bishop to the nun, you find yourself alone, stuck in a bunker waiting for a new strain of virus to bugger off. This time it's COVID 1119, the one with added zombies. Within the bunker, you only have 5 arcade machines to keep you amused over the following months. You settle down in a comfy chair and prepare to play the games. Unfortunately, you find that all 5 arcade machines only work when 2 people are playing them simultaneously. You curse out loud and dread the forthcoming months of boredom. But wait, in the corner of the bunker there just so happens to be a cloning machine. Not believing your good fortune, and after thanking your lucky stars, you quickly insert yourself into the machine and say, hey presto, Mainmeister Junior is born. Now you have someone to play the arcade machines with. My question is this: which arcade games that only work when both players are playing simultaneously on the screen do you pick? Take into account that you'd probably want a variation in gameplay and genres. If it was me, my favourite arcade games, my choices would be Samurai Showdown 2, Power Play, Gauntlet 2, Wizard of War and Badlands. Now I was never really a fan of 2-player games in arcades. I don't think I ever really played any games 2-player. I think the obvious one for me, 100% best one would have to be Track and Field. Definitely Hyper Sports. What else? I think probably Gauntlet, but I would have to kind of restrict myself. I mean, what other 2-player games is there? I'm trying to think of any kind of shoot 'em ups. I mean, there's stuff like Bubble Bobble and that. I wouldn't pick that. I'm not a fan of these games at all. I suppose I would have to. Again, it's a genre that I've never really got into, but I would like to like it. I would like to be good at it, and I've just never had the patience. I think Street Fighter 2. I'd actually try and make a point of learning how to play it properly. That's 4, I think it is. One more. I'm trying to think. Is there any other beat 'em ups or any football games? I think if I was going to be posh, I would go for a driving game. I don't know, Daytona, or is it Ferrari Challenge? I don't know. Probably an arcade driving game, I think, as well. But yes, it would be Gauntlet, be Track and Field, Hyper Sports. I can't even remember the other game that I picked. A driving game and whatever it was. Gauntlet. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, yeah, good question, Milfy. Thanks for that, buddy. Iridion Thorn. There's something that happens at 3:34 that puts your handsome visage out of sync with your dulcet tones. But it's nothing to worry about. A good waffle as usual. Yeah, I didn't notice Iridion. You were the first one to actually tell me there was something wrong with it. And the last question, one switch, a daft hypothetical question. If you were tasked with building an arcade in the mid-1980s that you were only allowed to fill with home computer or console games, what would you choose to bring in the punters? Do you think it could have competed with a real arcade at the time? Oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's lots of good games. That, you know, I mean, there's some cracking shoot 'em ups, Hybris for starters. You could have Sensei Soccer, you could have Drop Zone. There's lots of really good console games. I mean, the thing is, a lot of the console games are actually arcade games. Big blue bottle just flew past. Aye, do you think, I mean, here's the thing though, and I do talk about that quite a lot. Arcade games were always designed to make money, and that is why I don't think that arcade games always make the best conversions, because they're designed to be difficult, they're designed to kill you. You know, the average person apparently lasts about 40 odd seconds playing an arcade game, because it's all about making money. It's not always about having fun. Whereas arcade games, or sorry, home computer games are generally easier, so they wouldn't necessarily make the they wouldn't necessarily be the best from a commercial point of view because people would be on them too long. One game that I would 100% have in, I would have Pipeline, Super Pipeline, and Super Pipeline 2 that I would get the punters in. But yeah, anyway, listen, One Switch, thank you very much for that. So listen guys, I'm going to get going. I'm going to try and get this uploaded. Apologies again about the lateness of it. I am going to do a live stream tomorrow night. Yeah, I'll probably go for 7 o'clock. Alright, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. I promise I won't do it earlier because I think I said 7 o'clock last week. Then I ended up doing it earlier on and a few people missed it. I think Yoldy Gamer Steve missed it as well. So I promise you I will be along at 7 o'clock tomorrow night as long as nothing bad happens. So anyway, listen guys, enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Enjoy your weekend. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching.